Hi everybody, welcome to another Dex Mugs and D6 Rolls. Today I'm joined by Paul Malone. He's an artist based down in Brighton who recently donated a Boba Fett art print to our fan art competition to give away as a prize. So I asked him to come along today to have a bit of a talk to me, and we'll get to know a little bit more about him and his career. Hi Paul.
Hello. Hello, Lee. You all right?
I'm great, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me for this.
No, that's okay.
I mean, obviously, you very kindly donated the art print to the fan art competition. So I thought it'd be great if we can put a face to the name and get to know a little bit about your career, about yourself, and also
I don't have a career.
you, you do yourself enough justice, Paul. And then we can both basically just fan out over our favourite pieces of art, because I've actually already raided my cupboard and my wall to
Oh, man.
my bits.
Yeah, I don't know if you see the jacket in the background. That's to hide the mess behind me.
Don't worry. The reason my camera's all the way up here is so that no one can see what's going on behind me either. Well, first of all, welcome to the DG community. You took part in the quiz, obviously, recently.
Yeah, no, it was great fun. I got the wife involved as well, and it was we laughed the whole time. Absolutely, really enjoyed it.
That's great, because obviously you're based down in Brighton.
Yeah.
So
I was in London there. I'm originally from Northern Ireland, but I married Michelle, moved to London. That was 2011, and then so we made the move down to Brighton a couple of years ago now, and really enjoying it.
Yeah, great stuff. So obviously, I appreciate the fact that you took the time to join in with the quiz, because we're not exactly your local game store.
But I mean, so like we know each other through the Comic Con. So I think you picked up some artwork from me from a Comic Con, and
it was for the love of sci-fi. So I'll be showing off the piece that started it all off in a little while. But first of all, there's a new thing I'm going to try and do as part of these, and that's what I'm calling In a Nutshell. So essentially, what I want to do is I'm going to hand over to you, and in a nutshell, tell us all about you, what you do, and everything we can about you and what your interests are in a nutshell. So I'm going to hand over to you.
Well, in a nutshell, it's like, I don't know. I started drawing when I was about sort of like 6 years of age. So like, I got loads of encouragement from my parents and stuff, but I just didn't have the confidence to take it anywhere. I never had any formal training. Years ago, back in '89, I lived in Australia for 11 years. And then when we came back from there, the whole family came back from Australia to Northern Ireland, and I lived in Northern Ireland. That's where I was born. And in '89, we opened a comic shop. So we ran a comic shop for about 5 years, and I really flourished with the artwork there. I was doing motorcycle jackets, helmets, wall murals and stuff like that. And so, I mean, some of the stuff is still knocking about today as well, which is really nice. What else? And anyway, when the shop closed, I didn't have an avenue for the artwork, so I mean, I just really stopped. It wasn't doing anything. I went and got a real job. Then I got married in 2011, made the move over to London, and so I was working at Heathrow Airport, and they cut me hours way back. And we sort of like, I said, well, how are we going to make up the money? And so like the wife suggested, so why don't you go back to doing the artwork? And that's when it kicked off again. And I always had a love of sci-fi, comics, always read comics, always. And loved the artwork. This is not really a nutshell, is it?
No, that's fine. That's great. I mean, as you say, it's been you've had a love for drawing and artwork for years, so it's great to hear how it's sort of progressed for you. And
yeah, well, I'll tell you. So I think it was my father got us into sci-fi, because I remember he took us to see. No, this is a blast from the past. He took us to see 2001: A Space Odyssey at a drive-in in Australia. So that'll give you an idea of my age.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen 2001 so many times, and I still get totally confused by that ending.
I mean, like, we were only kids at the time, and we were like, "Well, what?" But we just loved it because it had spacecraft in it and astronauts and stuff like that. And I mean, I think that was the other thing. Growing up at that time, in the '60s, so it was the space race.
Yeah.
And it was all over the television. And we were taken out of school in '69 in Australia and taken around to people's houses. And we didn't know why or what for. And it was sort of like sat down and told, watch this is history. And it was the first landing on the moon. And so,
That's
Neil Armstrong's first words from the moon. And we seen it live.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, watching the footage back now, and it's still it's unbelievable that was a massive event, and it still actually is. It resonated right the way through, really, since then.
Yeah. Well, this is it, and it still has relevance today because there's still, sort of like with Elon Musk's space race, sort of like, and it's good to see independent companies going for it instead of sort of like, government-run stuff.
Yeah, it's brilliant. But yeah, you've had obviously a very busy career then, lots of various different things that you do. Obviously, the main thing we've pulled you in for today is the art side. So I suppose the next thing we need to do now is have a little bit of a highlight reel of our favourite pieces. So I hope you don't mind, but I'm gonna hand over to you in a second. But I need to show off what started it all off. I'm gonna put my brew down before I spill it, and I'm going to hold up this one.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
So we're going back. I can't remember what year it was now. It must have been, for the love of sci-fi, probably about 3 years ago.
Yeah. I would say so, yeah.
And I just fell in love with this piece straight away. It combined my two favourite loves, the Jawas and the Iron Giant. And yeah, at that point, I turned around to my sister's boyfriend and said, "You want to know what I want for Christmas? I want this."
That's it.
I remember I had a chat with you and Michelle, I think, for a while, actually. We just stood there looking at your store and like, this was what started it off.
Yeah, there you go. That was brilliant. I'm so glad people find real joy from the artwork that I do. And so, and that one, the Iron Giant one was the very first one of the series that I did. So I had these characters, so like the Jawas, and so like, and all I could think about was like, well, what do Jawas collect? And so can they collect junk? And so I can say, right, the robots. So I'm just done a stream of robots from like Iron Giant right through to I don't know, Android, the sort of like the wee robot for Android.
In the cartoon style, you can see where the inspiration from all the comics that you did obviously came from. It's a fantastic.
Well, the Jawas came about, but from a love of Galvin and Hobbes.
And
I just love that style, and so like I wanted to do something like that. And the Jawas, and for the love of Star Wars as well, and so like, and the Jawas just lended itself to it, like.
That's it.
And I tried to give each one an individual character. You got the mean one with the gun, the one with the staff, and then you got the one at the end that's a bit dopey, a bit like the Seven Dwarfs, but only 4.
Oh, it's brilliant. And like you say, it lends itself to so many different androids that you could basically, as long as they keep bringing out more and more sci-fi films, they'll just keep giving you more and more characters to draw on.
Yeah, I haven't touched on it in a while, and I keep thinking I should go back to it. I mean, there's the stuff that I've been doing for you, so like the Boba Fett character, so like with you. So yeah,
I should have worn that T-shirt, to be fair, but I have got the picture with me. I've got the Boba Fett that you turned me into, is what I'm referring to. But yeah, the obviously the Boba Fett that you've donated, I've got that one here as well. To just sort of highlight and show off. And again, I've got that on my wall. Obviously, this one's nice and fancy, though, because you've signed this one. But, I mean, again, he's one of my favourite characters, as you know, because you turned me into him, or him into me. But, I mean, that piece in itself is fantastic. So how do you... I mean, obviously, you drew the Jawas one. Is this one digitally drawn? How do you make this one?
Well, that was on box canvas or a flat canvas. So, oh God, I can't remember. It was that long ago I did it. I mean, and that was at the start of sort of like when I was doing Comic Cons. So I mean, I was doing a rake of paintings to try and get as much stock together, so like to sell at this thing, which was the first Comic Con, and it was in Northern Ireland. It's so like a W5, and it was like a Star Wars event. So I was trying to do as many Star Wars characters as I could, and that piece was about, oh crumbs, it was about 18 inches by 12 inches, if I remember rightly, something like that. It was along that lines, 20 by 15, something like that. And we raffled it. I was there, I raffled it for the Northern Ireland Children's Hospice. So we made about 500 quid for that. But yeah, it was hand drawn, penciled first, and then airbrushed. I have an airbrush, so like, you know, I used to do a lot of airbrushing, and I so like I do a wee bit now and again. I do a lot of computer stuff now, digital. So yeah, I'm a lot of mixed media and stuff like that.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, the last one I'm going to very quickly hold up is the fact that you also do some fantastic commissions, and I'm going to show this one that I've actually had framed on my wall. And it was one that I know that Sam and David at their wedding asked you to do as a present for me for being the best man. And for everybody who can see it, obviously there's me as Boba Fett, and we've got David as Wedge. And then it's just a fantastic piece. I think it's brilliant.
So, oh God, I remember when that came in, and so like, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger, and so like Sam so like says, "Oh, I want yourself, Lee," and so like in as Boba Fett, and David as so like, you know, in X-wing fighter pilot so like outfit. I said, "Oh, that's okay. I can do that. I can do that. And can you put so like Ewoks in there? And can you put Yoda in there? And can you put the suits in?" And I just kept getting bigger and bigger. And I was like, okay. So, but it was great fun to do, and that's the great fun about commissions. And so you not yourself not necessarily have the idea of where it's going to go, and it's brilliant that you have the input from the client or whatever, and they just throw stuff at you that you'd never ever think about or never ever do. And it worked out really well, because out of that came the sort of like the Boba Fett character. So out of that came the Yoda character as well, which I haven't done anything with. I actually did a T-shirt with him. So like with underneath like what the Force.
Oh, so actually from this one then, this is where Yoda started.
Yeah. That's
wow.
You
see, I thought you'd actually already got the Yoda and you put it in.
No.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, this has made it even more special now. Then.
Well, there you go.
The birth of Boba and Yoda, amazing. So obviously, I've fanboyed out over my choice and favorite pieces. Are there any in particular that you hold dear?
Oh, well, there's
Oh, I do like that. That's awesome. Oh, you've killed your mic.
that's my it's my brother's motorcycle jacket, but he never rode motorcycles. I did. So it was around the time we had the comic shop, and so and just during the day I was painting and sort of and doing stuff. So I grabbed his motorcycle jacket and just painted that on the back of it, and I've kept it ever since.
Well, it's a brilliant piece. It's lovely. So again, is that airbrushed onto it, painted on?
It is. It is. Parts of it are airbrushed and parts of it are hand painted. But I mean, it's a Simon Bisley piece. So I mean, there's so many artists that have influenced me in my artwork: Frank Frazetta, Simon Bisley, Alex Horley. I mean, that's just to name a few. I'm looking around me at my comic book collection to sort of see if I can spy anything. So. But
Brilliant.
yeah, no, I mean, every artist is influenced by somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's not always necessarily artists. It's what you take inspiration from your own interests. And like you say, you're a sci-fi fan, Star Wars fan. So
Yeah,
you draw a
yeah.
lot of inspiration from there.
I mean, I was never big at reading books, but comics. I like the visual content and the artwork, and yeah, and still do today.
It's
Still
like
buy
Stan
comics.
Lee. Well, Stan Lee always used to talk about the fact that comics can tell just as good a story as a book can, and you can see it on the page without having to read it sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, actually, I'm working with a guy in Northern Ireland, and so like he has links to the education system over, one of the colleges in Coleraine, and he's works. Oh crumbs! It's about to do with the Armada, and
Okay.
one of the ships that crashed on the shores of up around on the north coast.
Yeah.
So, but he did a thing a couple of years ago that went in the school, like a wee pamphlet, and it was comic based, and so like and the schools loved it. But he's he wants to do another one, and so and he's got in contact with the Spanish consulate and all this, and so but anyway, it's going ahead, and so again they want me on board as the artist for it.
Oh, fantastic! That's brilliant.
There's a few, and plus I'm working with him. He guy's called Bob Curran, and he has a small comic company called Full Moon, and I've done a front cover for them. So like it's called the comic's called Jockram Dark, and I did the cover for it. And
I think I remember that being released. Actually, I saw you announcing it. Yeah, I need to have a look at that.
Yeah, and I lettered the inside of it, and so like, and I've done a front cover for it. But he's got loads of series on the go. So like, there's weird comics, Sinner, ladies. I'm looking at my board because that's where it's all written.
Yeah.
So like, ladies who lynch is another one.
Okay.
So yeah, there's loads of things this year.
Oh, fantastic! Well, I appreciate you. You've got a lot going off. I appreciate you taking the time to speak to me. I could quite literally pick your brain for days and days and days.
Do.
But I mean, I just want to say thank you very much for joining me for this, Paul. It's been great to pick your brains, find out a bit about the industry, I suppose, as a whole. And again, thank you so much for the generous donation of the print to our art competition.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Anytime.
But no, I appreciate it very much, and I'll make sure you get a first glance at all the entries we've had as well, so you can give us your input into your judging skills.
Okay.
But I just want to say thank you so much, and I will let you carry on with your day for now. But I really appreciate you giving up your time.
Oh no, that's okay. Anytime. So
Great stuff. Well, I'll obviously see you at the next quiz if you're available.
Yeah. No, you on tonight, isn't it?
We have got one tonight. Yes.
Yeah. No, I'll be there.
Oh, brilliant. Fantastic. Well, I'm glad that you're safe and well and coping with all that's going off at the minute.
Oh, I know. Tell me about it. Like, so.
But I mean,
it's actually good for me in a way, because so like people are online and they're looking, and so they can buy an artwork and commissioning me, so which is great. So.
That's right. Well, in these final moments, I will give you a bit of time now to promote your website and tell us where we can find your work.
Oh, right. Okay. So like, you can find my work. Oh God, you caught me on the hop because I can't remember my own website name. Hang on.
That's all right. I'm going to tag it anyway. So.
Okay. Oh, here we go.
So yeah, theartofpaulmalone.com.
Oh, it's back to the front.
Don't worry, it's the right way around for me. It's all good.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's Paul Malone Arts on Facebook or theartofpaulmalone.com on the good old interwebs.
Yeah. Oh, so like the wife has thrown the comic at me. She says, plug that. There's the comic.
Oh, that's the one that you'd done the cover for?
That's the one I did the cover for.
Brilliant. Love it.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I'm doing the cover for the second issue as well. Oh, crumbs. What else could I tell you? Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, again, thank you very much for your time, Paul. And
okay.
I will no doubt speak to you again soon. and continue to stay safe and well. And hi to Michelle, who I know is lingering in the background. I keep seeing her pop back and forth now and again. But take it easy, take care, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
All right, Lee, you take care.
Thank you very much, Paul.